Here again, and we just got the Peacemaker trailer, and as it goes, we're gonna break down this trailer, everything we get to see from Peacemaker. Of course, as a DLC character, he has a great design and lots of interesting tools. That's pretty, like, how it goes for DLC characters. You get a lot of tools and a lot of funky weird stuff, and Peacemaker seems like he's not going to be any kind of exception. He's got, like, really weird projectiles, decent looking buttons, and some weird special stuff as well. We'll go over the trailer in regular speed first, just so it's not completely annoying, but as you can see here, he's got combos off of two different types of projectiles already. One was metered, but one was not. And then just an amazing extended combo here with Janet Cage as well. So combo ability is not going to be one of his weaknesses, that's good to know.
You think me a monster?
Here we get to see more combos using the same two projectile combo starters again, and we get to see a few more homages to Omni-Man. That's something you might notice a few times here. He's got some teleports that are similar to Omni-Man, some flying attacks that look similar. But there's definitely some similarities between these two superhero characters. But here's one of his really interesting properties. He's got this shield they can put up, and at face value, as we watch it here, it kind of looks normal, like it reflects some stuff, but it actually changes colors as it goes. Also, that eagle summon is actually weird. That is the one thing in this trailer that I still do not really comprehend, because it's almost like it's acting as a cameo. We'll go back into it when we go through the whole thing, but it seems like it's somehow acting on its own, and you know what, I do not think I'm going to show the entire Fatality. So before he gets his ass beat and exploded, we're going to go back to the start. Right, and we're going to slow it down, because that's what we do, and we're going to talk about every move that we get to see. I'm also going to predict what buttons they are, because I love doing that. I'm getting a good hang of it. So, at the start here, Liu Kang throws out some kicks. Also, just a side note, what a DLC standing idle animation. That is such Terminator strange stance for a DLC character. Also, the blocking stance, kind of ugly, but hey, suits a DLC character, I guess. Here we've got like a stand 4 or forward 4. 4, 2, into this enhanced gunshot. So these are 3 high projectiles that go into a crumple state. So he's got full screen projectiles, we get to see them again, they are proper projectiles that the opponent goes into a crumple state and you can just easily combo off of. You can combo full screen, you can combo point blank because it's fast enough. That seems really powerful. And speaking of powerful projectiles that lead to combos, well, he just goes straight into another one, calls out Mr. Eagly here. We do see 2 versions of Eagly, but this first one is a low. Or it at least appears to hit low. And it makes Liu Kang kind of tumble towards Peacemaker in a launch. So it's very easy to extend combos, at least from point blank. Like, look at that. And it appears like it's meterless. I don't know if Eagly is going to have some of its own special little meter, but he didn't spend any bar doing this combo except for that amplified gunshots here. Now, the stance that he goes into trying to do this, I'm interested if it's... it is a weird kind of animation. I wonder if he counts as actually airborne during this, because that could be kind of interesting. Could he perhaps go over some kind of low projectile? I'm not sure, but potentially. If his legs are off the floor. And also, does that mean if someone hits him out of it, is he airborne? Which can make punishes kind of worse? I don't know. Just potentially interesting stuff. Then we've got simple string here, like 2-1 grab, and cancels into Janet here, so we'll talk about Janet at the end, but it seems like she's got this interesting kind of summon where she has multiple attacks off of it, and she can do some interesting combos, and Peacemaker uses that opportunity to go for one of his teleport attacks that are pretty similar to one of Omni-Man's. He just teleports, flies up into the sky, and just appears on the other side of the screen. It doesn't seem like he would, I imagine... It doesn't seem like he would be able to get combos from this, but thanks to Janet, she does a kick. Then he goes for this back 1-2 looking string with the poison dart. We get to see this a few times. Janet hits one final time, and then he goes for 2-1 into some big sonic boom, which is also, just pay attention, also a launcher. And it also seems like it's a meterless launcher. So in that first sequence that we just saw here, we have a total of 3 launchers, 2 of which are projectiles. one of which is just a meterless, giant-looking projectile that looks like it hits the full screen. And also just a casual teleport. Not even mentioning the crazy cameo extensions. Basic shield character throw, we don't need to watch the dialogue. Okay, here we go.
Me a monster.
So you see another simple string here, like 1, 2, into a different version of Eagly here. So maybe instead of like down forward 1, it's down back 1, or down forward 2. But as you can see, he jumps differently, and Eagly also comes out at a different height. Instead of completely across the floor, Eagly's kind of, you know, a little bit more of a mid here. And this one, I think surely Peacemaker would go over low projectiles, even like a Lao hat, which, you know, is low but hits people out of the air for some reason. I think he could surely jump over that if he timed it correctly, which is very interesting. I love multifaceted moves that can act as mobility and projectiles and seemingly combo starters as well. So we see he goes for Eagly here. Unfortunately, the hit doesn't seem like it's as good as the low Eagly because the opponent does kind of get a little bit blasted away, so you can't combo it as easily. But Janet does come through with an extension, but once again, we'll talk about her at the end. And then after the Janet extension, we see this triple gunshot again. This is, once again, the enhanced version. We still haven't seen the meterless version. And as you can see, not only does it start combos from close or full screen, it also puts the opponent into a crumple state no matter what, which is ridiculous, because that means in juggles, it's a restand. Or maybe not a restand, but it juggles them from the air. That is just crazy and unexpected, and that is such DLC privilege. And then you could definitely easily get a combo from this, but he decides not to, and he shows off a different move he has from this anti-gravity float. So before he kind of jumped in from the other side of the screen with a kick, now he just drops down with an overhead. So we are seeing a lot of Omni-Man-esque references here. He's got a teleport that switches sides, like a teleporting attack that switches sides, and a falling overhead. I'll be interested to see how the properties are different, whether things are safe, whether things start combos, how fast he can do it. This back 1 string we've already seen in the previous combo, but as it looks very similar to Terminator's back 1, it seems like a great anti-air, and it goes into some kind of back 1-2 with this blow dart, and easily hits Lena out of the sky, and uses it multiple times in the combo. So instead of back 1-2, it's like back 1-4 into a grab, and just a simple anti-air combo, but that's a bunch of hits. And a bunch of hits off of a great anti-air, and like that kind of combo flexibility is not too common in this game, so that is really good. Side note here, Quan Chi seems like he's got a slightly different attack. He doesn't normally have this orange portal thing that he can summon away from himself, so maybe this is a little bit of a hint that the update that's coming up will actually have some meaningful balance changes, which, thank God, we've been asking for them for a while. Maybe we'll get something. So we get jump into this 2-1 string again. Janet does a nut punch, and now here we have an interesting attack. So he summons this like energy shield around himself, and you know it's blue for most of this sequence, but if you don't pay attention, it's actually yellow when he first summons it and Quan Chi fires the projectile, and that's when it reflects. But after it reflects, it turns blue, which is interesting because that makes me wonder, does it cycle through different colors the more projectiles that it reflects? And does that actually mean anything? Like, do you get different properties or something changes when you're in these different colors, or is it just cool? At the beginning, I thought this sonic boom was something you could do because you had this shield on, but we did see in the first combo that he can actually just do that big sonic boom whenever he likes. So having a meterless combo starter that can just lead into a jump. Oh, actually, he spent meter on that one. Whoops, my bad. So maybe to get a ground opponent into the air, he needs to spend meter. But he can jump cancel it. Aerial string that has a bounce, those are always good to have. It's actually pretty similar looking to Rain's 2-4-3. We see some wildly long Janet extensions and then another flying head slam, which once again, it looks a little bit similar to Omni-Man's flying head slam Superman punch. Now, I was talking there, but you can see this eagle situation here. You know, it looks cool, there's a lot of stuff happening on the screen, more than you'd expect for a 2D fighter like Mortal Kombat. But what's really weird is that, like, what is going on with this eagle? What is it? So, Omni-Man has been hit here, or he hasn't been hit, he's getting up. But it looks like he's still in the recovery from his move. He doesn't do any kind of animation or anything like, go, Eagly, but he does have this voice line where he says, Eagly! So that leads me to believe that this is something that's actually activated and isn't just passively coming out. And what Eagly's doing is also interesting. It attacks the opponent's cameo when they come onto the screen. So, yeah, this is really interesting to me, and this is what makes me think that Eagly might be some kind of resource or something, because not only was it a great projectile, but this is just a really strange trait to have. Having something that can attack the opponent's cameo, but also doesn't require any special activation of your own. It just flies out and does it, and it almost looks like it did it like the second that Darius came out. So it makes me kind of feel like it's a, you know, Sindel's move that she can activate that makes it so the opponent can't break. I have a feeling it might be something like that, where it's something that Peacemaker has activated earlier or kind of spent some resource onto having this period where if the opponent summons a cameo, Eagly just automatically flies in and takes him out. Which in this game sounds incredibly strong, because cameos that are extremely annoying in the neutral, I can think of quite a few of those. I can think of a Serena, a Striker, a Lowhat. The list can definitely go on. So having something that you could like summon in a combo or at the end of a combos to like have this thing that can come out at any time and just stop your opponent from throwing out random cameos sounds really strong. And also you can see here, when the opponent tries to throw a projectile through it, the eagle kind of gets hit out of it and acts as a wall for projectiles, which is just another amazing property to stop you getting zoned out. And while that's all happening, Peacemaker goes for another anti-gravity attack. He floats up off the screen, and we see another option, which once again is pretty similar to one of Omni-Man's. So we've seen a side-switching kick, we've seen a slam down overhead, and now we're seeing the plane teleport behind with no attack. So he's basically got all of the options that we've seen from Omni-Man's teleport stance, except for the combo stutter. We see this 2-1 string again, which they seem very keen to show off in this trailer. I wonder if that's going to be one of his workhorse strings, does a lot of damage, or maybe his plus one block or something, I don't know. Or maybe the rest of his buttons are just absolute garbage and they don't bother using them, well, I don't know. Fatal Blow activation seems average, not like a huge distance, despite using a gun because he just shoots the floor, but it looks fine. Pretty reminiscent of Spawn's Fatal Blow activation in MK11. But other than that, there's not much to talk about here. Yeah, honestly, the most interesting thing in this trailer to me is this force field. It changes color, it can reflect the opponent's projectiles while staying on for quite a long amount of time. And then also, in the same sequence, we have this really interesting anti-kameo eagly attack, which is just very strange and unique. And I imagine is strong, but if we're talking strong things, it's not like Peacemaker was already short of them, because if we just talk about the simple tools that we've already seen, well, we've got a triple hitting projectile that if you enhance it, it puts the opponent into a crumple state no matter where they are on the screen. Airborne, full screen, close up, leads to a combo. We've also got these eagly attacks, one of which seems to be a low that starts combos, another one is a mid. Maybe it's safe, that's maybe a little bit of a reach, but I don't know. He's also got all sorts of teleports with a bunch of options, which, as Omni-Man has shown off, can be pretty strong if you can vary them or keep them safe with a cameo. But yeah, seeming kind of strong. And while we're at the start here, let's just go talk about Janet real quick. I'll be honest, not too excited about Janet. I mean, I never was, and this trailer didn't do too much for me, but I have to say, despite that, it does look like she is going to be versatile and cool and lead to cool combos. This is the first move we see. It's a summon. She gets summoned and goes for this kick. And by the time she's done the kick, your character has been able to move for quite a while now. He's gone into that flight stance, floats away, and then goes for a kick, and that all seems to combo. So a little bit of a Serena or a Chameleon Jade toss situation where she just summons in, does a move, and then you can do your own moves and combo off of it. Simple combo extender, but she stays there. And so instead of just disappearing after her combo extender, she's staying there. And if you switch to the other side, she continues to do another kick. And then also goes for a final big uppercut. Now what I'm interested about this move is it something that you control, or is it a predetermined kind of sequence of attacks? Is she kind of like a puppet character that you can like press up or down or some other releasing buttons for her to do different things? Or is it just like she comes out, she does that kick for the starting combo, this one here, and then she'll always just do this same sequence of kick into another kick, into an uppercut, into a glowing green kick. Because if that is the case, could be strong, but also makes it far more limited, because then you do need to be able to side switch in your combos probably in order for all the attacks to hit while you're kind of like sandwiching the opponent in between the two of you. But even if it isn't, it could be a really interesting pressure tool, especially if any of them are like plus on block, particularly the first summon hit, and then you have all these kind of multiple people doing a bunch of attacks at once. It could be really interesting. Or maybe you could summon her on a knockdown and then she just keeps doing all these attacks. Maybe happens to hit the opponent. I'm not sure, but it is a very interesting move. And I appreciate that we have interesting summons instead of stupid ass ambushes. So we've got another summon of her here. This is an ambush. And this is kind of a Sonya square wave. Now we've got a few characters in the game that can kind of do that. We've got Sonya, we've got Chameleon as Melina, and now Janet seems like she can pretty easily do that as well. Seems like it acts just quite similarly to all the others. She flies very quickly across the screen, makes the opponent a little bit juggled in the air, so you have a bit more time to go for something else. It is quite simple, but it is honestly, used a lot for a reason. It's very effective. You get to combo off of a lot of things, a lot of strings that put the opponent even slightly in the air you can usually combo off of. You can combo for your down twos. It's just really usable, really versatile, and not too complicated. Now, we've got another summon here, which is kind of interesting. You call her out, she's miming, she runs into an invisible wall, but that wall seems to be real. She runs into the wall, but also seems like Melina's size run into the wall. Now this could be a little bit of a tricky, the theater of it, of them making this trailer. Maybe Melina's size just disappeared here, as they do for some reason. But I do think the thing they're trying to point out here is that this is actually some kind of proper wall, and there is something going on here, like Janet completely absorbs the projectiles, seemingly, assuming they didn't just dissipate here. And yeah, it seems like that's part of her hit. She kind of glows white, but doesn't really get hit out of the activation. So I assume it's used to absorb projectiles. Maybe it can even absorb regular attacks, because if it is just a projectile wall, that seems a little weak. It doesn't last for very long. Or maybe it just disappears because she got hit. I'm not sure. But an interesting utility summon. We love those. And I think that is all we get to see of Janet. And oh no, we get to see a little bit of a nut punch here, don't we? So the nut punch is a summon. Doesn't seem anything too exciting. Doesn't seem like, or at least in this trailer, Peacemaker didn't decide to combo off of it. But I think it's probably just going to be a simple restand or combo ender. Maybe it'll be plus, but that's just guessing and being hopeful. I think it's probably just going to be a combo ender, but we see her do something really cool here again. So she's got an ambush. What is this? A total of 5 moves now? And what's interesting about this one is that it's actually kind of the same move as before, but quite different, because she's glowing green, and then she does the same move multiple times. And, like we mentioned, Peacemaker is a DLC character, which gives him DLC privilege to have some unique stuff. And I think Janet is no different. She is a DLC cameo. I think she's gonna have some unique trait. Tremor and Chameleon had the like variation gimmick where they had multiple versions of themselves. I think what they're going for here with Janet is that she can kind of enhance any of her moves. You know, we don't get to see too much, but I think that's what they're showing off here. So we've seen the square wave before, but this time she just comes out normally, but then as she goes for her attack, she glows green. So I think maybe here, as she goes for the attack, if you press the cameo button again, maybe you can spend more cameo meter, and she does like an enhanced version of her cameo attack, where instead of just doing one square wave, she does what, like 3 or 4 of them for a really long juggle. You combo into anything from that, which is really interesting because then that begs the question: what happens if you amplify the wall move, or if you amplify that other multi-kick summon? Just very, very not complicated, but unique and interesting stuff from Janet. And I like that it's unique stuff from mostly summons, so that it's not, you know, more strikers and kanos, and we don't need any more of them in the game. So let's count the total number of moves. We get this summon here for a bunch of combo extending. We get a ambush here with the square wave. So that's 2 moves. Generally cameos have 3 moves. Her third one is this wall attack, or wall defend. And then she does have a 4th one with the nut punch. So maybe she is just like Frost, or... yeah, Frost has about 4 attacks. And she can just do them with different directions, maybe forward, neutral, back, and down. And then maybe she amplifies them by pressing the button multiple times, or holding it down or something. But I'm gonna put my money that that's what her gimmick is. Because other than that, we don't see anything too unique from her, but you know they're gonna try something scary out with the DLC cameos. And hopefully it doesn't make her completely weak, or people don't enjoy playing her, and like with the other 2 variation cameos. But I guess, yeah, we talked about the main 2 characters and literally every move, and it probably took me a little bit too long to do so. Wow, look how fast they're moving now that we're not in quarter speed. But Peacemaker and Janet, I guess, looks really cool. We get to play him in only a few days, about 4 or something now. And yeah, I can't comment on how strong he's going to be, of course, but if we're taking the amount of tools he has as any kind of way of judging, it seems like he's going to be pretty well off. He's got many projectiles. He's not going to be hard off from a distance. He can start combos from various projectiles, start combos from various blasts. He looks like maybe his weakness might be his buttons, but he's got some pretty good utility buttons, like a great anti-air button, enough buttons to go into combos, and he's got this really interesting mobility with these teleports, slams, teleports into kicks, teleports into just regular teleports. I don't think he's going to be very hard off. He seems like he's got enough cool tools to cover anything you could need, and then you include a bunch of other tools from cameos. He's going to be a very, very strong, well-rounded character, I believe. So, that was the Peacemaker trailer. Very, very cool. Love to see some more John Cena on my screen whenever I can, so aren't we all lucky? Thank you so much for watching. Can't wait to see what happens with Peacemaker. I'll be making videos and I'll be watching everyone else's. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you there. Bye-bye.